I'm your host, David Cameo, and welcome to Squawking Dead, where we'll be breaking down both the reaction to and full episode breakdown of Better Call Saul's 9th episode of its 6th and final season titled Fun and Games. First things first is the reaction podcast. If you like what you heard, remember to head to ratethis.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need to know that you love us, but let us know what you liked, let us know what you didn't like, but just tell us after every episode. And without further ado, here is Sharon D introducing the reaction.
We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Breaking Bad universe. Today with me is Rachel Burt, CosmoMom09, Bridget, Funky Brewster at Ain't My First Rodeo on Instagram, and Ex-Prophecy Girl on Twitter. And lurking in the darkness as always is Dave.
Took the thunder out of my the wind out of my sails. Hey Anthony, he's in Instagram.
Hi Anthony.
Hi, Anthony.
So today we are going to just give our initial reactions to tonight's Better Call Saul episode 609, Fun and Games, which, as Rachel pointed out during our watch, was a very misleading title.
Yeah,
It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt.
Yeah. My initial reaction is I'm just fucking heartbroken right now because Kim and Jimmy are the reason I love this show, and their splitting up is really. Even though I kind of knew it had to happen, it's really gutting me. Like, I'm very, very sad right now. I don't even want to talk about it a whole lot. The opener was amazing. The opening sequence was absolutely amazing of them all of them going on about their days. And then we had, like, I don't know what the whole long thing was with Gus and the wine. Like, they could have cut out like 20 minutes of the show just leaving. I don't know what was going on there.
I know.
Okay,
tell us. Pick me.
Tell us.
I love that.
Okay,
but I'll let Bridget go.
That was Gus's internal dilemma with, can I have a life outside of crime?
I love the way you put outside of crime, like McGruff the crime dog.
Well, because he's so invested in his life of crime.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason that they threw that in there is because, you know, obviously him and that guy were like kind of vibing, you know? So they had a lot in common. The guy was into him, he was returning the vibe. And you saw that moment where Gus is happy for a second, you know? And
that was weird, right?
It just falls out of him.
Right, especially on the tail end of our last episode where we were literally just saying the only thing that will get him angry is getting his shirt messed up.
So it was him going no, I can't do this. I can't bring this guy into this. And so that's why he left. So it was really sad, actually. I did not enjoy that part. But also it was boring because who cares about wine?
Mm-hmm.
I was riveted. And Rachel loves wine.
I do.
The more,
wine.
the merrier.
I do love
wine. It was
wine.
about whiskey.
I didn't need to hear
right.
all about it.
Rachel,
I like
Rachel
drinking
loves,
it. I don't need to know about it.
She likes the drinking it, not the learning about it part.
Well, you made yourself seem like a real sommelier there. Wait a second. I like wine.
I do like wine. I just don't need to learn about it. If it tastes good, that's all I need to know.
Are you aerating your wine and
Definitely
swirling?
not. I drink it straight from the bottle. Did you not see the photos?
I did.
He was not.
This guy
was
would be
not
disgusted with your behavior. You know, from now on, Rachel will aerate all of her wine to be
right.
I told you, I'm into
Swish
this.
the bottle around.
Sniffing time takes away good drinking time.
Yeah, God.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I did kind of notice that the Gus swirling the wine in the glass reminded me a little bit of Howard twisting the can.
Oh, that's
earlier.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. So I pay you big bucks, Sharon D.
Just one of those visual things that just kind of caught me. I was very worried about Papa Varga. I wasn't exactly. I thought for sure Mike was going to give him the
fake ID.
The fake ID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Tell him he needed to leave. Because, like, he's like, you don't need to worry about Salamancas, but, like, they could still, like, just because Hector can't do anything doesn't mean they can't put out a hit on Papa Varga. So.
What do you mean? He can do plenty. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding. He's gonna spoil my breakfast. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, that was so many dings too. So many dings.
You're a ding.
So here's something that just occurred to me as we're rewatching the end with Dave. What if they never tell us what happened to Kim?
That would suck.
What if she
would
just
be
leaves
great.
and they never tell us what happens?
Stop it, David. That would be
Stop
terrible.
it, David, with your great.
No, that would be terrible.
That's not great. That's not great. This is
No.
this is why
wait,
you don't have an Emmy.
That
Dave.
is an ending that needs to be wrapped up. I need that in a
For
pretty
those who
little
missed
bow.
it, that was a little nugget from the last episode that's carrying over to this one. Everybody gets an Emmy. I'm actually a little bit serious about that, because with Kim somehow in the wind, let's say, and we don't know what happens, it could be potential for a Kim-focused series, even. Do you know what I mean?
Think about that too. But they love to give us the twist and subvert our expectations. That's what they love to do that to us. So wouldn't that be like the biggest twist of all? We just never find out what happens to Kim.
You won't see
leaves.
what's coming.
Then that's it.
I
That's
mean,
it.
we can at least be happy saying like, oh, she's alive somewhere, right?
Right. She's not in prison.
No, it'll just be like she just got hit by a bus, so she's like dead, but you
no.
just don't get to know.
I think she's going back to her. She's going to go back to her hometown and she's going to go back to her hometown and get a job at the Hinky Dinky.
Oh, boy.
Hinky dinky.
Yep. So I mean, like, my theory seriously is that Carol Burnett is going to play her mom, and her mom is like, she's going to go back and stay with her mom in Omaha, or near Omaha, which would put her in Gene territory.
Mm-hmm.
Gene Takovic timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I actually, so as we were watching the last scene, I was kind of hoping that Carol Burnett would play one of Jimmy's prostitutes. Like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, but maybe.
Yikes.
Yeah.
What a waste
Sorry.
of bringing Carol Burnett on.
I
I'm sorry.
know, but I think she would find it funny. No, I don't know. Maybe.
The other theory I've heard about her is that she's going to be Judge Papadumian, who is a judge that was mentioned in both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. But now that seems like we've kind of slipped out of the Jim and Kimmy's timeline. I mean, I think that was our time jump. I think that was our time jump.
Oh, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That was.
So,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
At
They just didn't tell us
At the
how
end.
long. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure we're not going to be going back to the current timeline that we were just in.
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Now that very last part, that little, the get to
Saul.
Armani on whatever.
Like bringing the last. Yeah.
That was a
The
Gene
little black
scene.
and white scene.
Yeah, because it was in black and white, and that was a department store, which is in a mall, which is where the Cinnabon.
Oh,
The teaser thing? Oh, which I didn't get to see.
Yeah.
yeah, the teaser.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Gotcha.
never mind, Dave. You don't know.
No, I'll catch it later. Whatever.
Yeah.
No problem.
He's like, what?
Speaking of the teaser,
Because I watched live, by the way, so just so everybody knows, not in AMC
Yeah.
Plus.
the lines that Jimmy said to Kim in the opener, one day we'll wake up and we
Brush our
we'll
teeth.
brush our teeth, etc. That's a reference that recalls two different times. First was when Stacy was in the therapy group with Mike, and she was talking about how she'd gotten up and made Kaylee breakfast and hadn't even thought at all about her
that's
husband.
right.
And then, of course, the second reference is when Jimmy is asking Mike, how long is this going to, after Bagman, when they were out in the desert, how long is this going to last? And Mike, word for word, what Mike said to him in the car.
Yep.
Wow. Damn. Again, with the multitude of the multiverse of parallels between the two series.
Oh, there's so
That
many.
line played
Yeah.
at the end of the last episode, also, didn't it?
That was in the teaser. It was in the teaser at the end of the
Okay.
last episode. Yeah. I also noted the difference between Howard's send off at HHM and Chuck's send off at HHM. After Chuck died, they had one picture of him in the lobby, and that was it. There was no
Oh, yeah.
no
like,
ceremony.
Think about
no
that.
ceremonies
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So, but for Howard, they had the big party there. Well, not party, but like the reception afterwards, and there was all those pictures of him printed, and all the people were there.
Do you think that's a reflection of how people really thought of Howard versus how people really thought of Chuck? I mean, I hate to say it, but is it possible?
Sure,
maybe.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember by the time Chuck died, he had been gone from HHM for all intents and purposes for a really long time.
Right.
A couple of years anyway.
And then coming in kind of like in the clutch, or like not the clutch, but like every now and again popping in and whatnot.
Right. So I mean, I don't know that it means anything. It just kind of something that struck me.
Something to think about.
I was really watching. Yeah. So a little bit of difference. And I really wanted to just like smack the crap out of Cheryl because bitch, you weren't even staying in the same fucking house with Howard. So how the fuck do you know what he was doing?
You didn't even care about his latte art.
I wanted Kim to step up to her and say you weren't even sleeping in the same fucking house. I couldn't remember if she knew or not, but well, I guess she did because Howard told them when he came over that he's been sleeping in the guest house for the better part of a year. So I really expected Kim to like step up and say something like that.
Oh, but, no. I do you think? I don't know. Anyway.
We have a question from the audience.
Yep. Has anyone gave any thoughts about what Mike will think about Kim leaving? That's from Anthony.
I was worried about that. Honestly, when Jimmy came flying through the door and he's like, "What did you do? What did you do?" That was the first thing I thought. I'm like, she's going to kind of like, I feel like this move might put more eyes on her, right? Like, yeah, I was worried. I definitely thought about what Mike would think.
I honestly, like, now that I saw the question, I'm like, I don't know. I think he's fine. As long as she's gone, she's gone. It's kind of like burying the body.
It's like Mike said, if for all intents and purposes, the case is closed.
Right, right.
They'll never find the body, so they can't ever actually close it. But everybody thinks the only person who had any objections at all was Cheryl. And again, if they start prying into what she has to say, what the hell would she know? Because she was never she didn't even acknowledge him half the time that we saw her.
They were estranged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I think I really think that they've done the time jump. So I'm not sure that even is going to be revisited. I could be wrong. That's just the feeling I got when they jumped ahead. Which is what made me worry about them not ever telling us what happened to Kim. Like, oh, let's just be like, okay, there we go, guys. She left, and that's it. Like, ah.
Well, I have a question. Did you guys expect that we would jump ahead in time? I didn't, and so I'm kind of like, now that you're telling me that that's where we're going to be from here on in, I'm like, oh, I feel kind of that we've have a loss. I mean, on top of Kim leaving Jimmy, like the show itself in that time period, I feel like this weird loss.
Well, I mean, we knew we had to have a time jump because we're 2.5 or 3.5 years behind Breaking Bad. So we knew we had to have a time jump of some kind. And like I said, I may be wrong. I mean, I could totally be wrong about this. I just get the feeling that this was a time jump, and that's where we're going to be from now on. Because we're still supposed to see Walt and Jesse. So I'm assuming that's going to be because we jumped ahead we're either right before or in the Breaking Bad timeline.
Right. And this is how we get it, essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I felt the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like we wrapped everything up for this time period. Kim is gone. Lalo is dead.
Nacho too.
Nacho is dead. So everything in this particular portion of time has kind of been wrapped up.
That's a good point.
So now the only, I mean, we could keep going ahead in here, but what else is there to explore in this particular, other than where did Kim go? But that's something that can be addressed later too.
Yeah. Overarching themes that I was thinking of throughout the watch. Oh, I'll get to that question in a second. Was what it's like to erase somebody. Like there are definitely repeating themes of erasure, like something being completely wiped away. Like between cleaning the apartment up and then cleaning up Howard technically from life and existence. Talking about Nacho being disappeared to his father. And then there's other themes too, like blood for blood repeating, like the wine has that taste of blood and what it means to get blood for blood, again with Nacho's father. That's not, who cares about blood for blood, etc., etc. There was one more theme that I was thinking of and I totally forgot about it, and I'm sorry, and maybe I'll get back to it. But yeah, what do you guys think of the blood for blood thing? Yeah,
I have a question. This is unrelated to blood for blood, and I'm sorry. not really. But
You don't get an Emmy for doing nothing. Anyway, go ahead.
so, you know how they're renaming HHM?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it's that dingus who dropped the soda? Is that his last name?
Carrie.
His name is... we recorded his name in the blog. Actually, he does have a last name.
That's what I thought of immediately when they said that they were renaming it. I was like,
Bruckner partner.
I'll let you know in just a sec.
It's just such a generic, corporatized name. Bruckner Partners.
Like Brookstone or...
Can't you hear it? Carrie Bruckner, attorney.
Carrie Anderson is his name. Yeah.
Oh, my dreams are dashed. All right. All right, back to your blood for blood.
Blood for blood and big themes. Yeah, well, I don't remember what I was going to say now anyway. The last one.
You asked what everybody else thought of it.
Yeah.
So you were done. That's what
yeah.
you said. You were done.
I just love that. The blood for blood thing more than anything else. I loved seeing the blood, wiping away the blood from the floors, the UV light, what it means, blood for blood, and the meeting with Don Eladio, like, and Salamanca wanting blood for blood, revenge, going back to Nacho's father, and even like the schemes from Jimmy and Kim, in a sense, were a form of blood for blood, like getting back at Howard for, I don't know, being a dick to him once, and then or them once. And
I mean, you could always also look at it as Kim is giving up her lifeblood because she spilled the blood of others.
Yeah, sacrificing her own blood, life's blood, right? That's great, man. I'm going to have to rewatch this reaction video for a breakdown because I'm forgetting about all this.
Overall, my overall reaction is I'm just gutted because, like I said, Kim and Jimmy are the reason I love this show. And they finally said I love you to each other, which everybody has been clamoring about. But so what?
But so what? What a horrible thing to say. I love you too.
That was
But I mean,
so
I get
great.
it though. I get it though. Sometimes love doesn't. Love isn't everything, you know.
But it's the line, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
great.
it was like a slap in the face to him, you know. But yeah,
Oh, what can I do to change? Is what he asked. Okay, there is video of this. I get very teary eyed. Very teary eyed. I was on the brink of full out crying. I was like, hold it together, Bridget.
Zoom in on
Just
Bridget.
hold it together.
Yeah, I can make her bigger.
Not crying now.
By the way, Nico says, I thought the episode would end with Mr. quote unquote Mr. Mahoo coming into his
Mayhew.
office.
Mr.
Oh,
Mayhew.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, that sounds which has not been spelled.
Mr. Magoo coming into his office.
That makes more sense, Charity. But yeah, I was also getting that feeling too. Like, okay,
I
you hear
was-
somebody we recognized.
I was getting ready to say, who do you all think is about to walk through the door?
And then it went.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was watching live and there was a lot going on, and I need to watch the episode again. Yeah, but I did get that sense of like, oh, somebody we know is coming through the door. Guess who's coming to dinner?
The credits. You know them.
See anybody in the lobby?
Surprise!
The credits.
Bridget.
Next week's episode breaks the title pattern. Next week's episode
Yeah.
is called Nippy. It is
Which-
called
Oh,
that.
dang, it is
Yeah.
Which
called
means-
that.
It's called that.
Wow.
Which means
Cold.
Yeah.
It means cold.
Little chilly.
when
What if
we
you're
were
talking about like
about
a dog though? Like Bitey.
right.
Like a nippy dog.
Yeah, I think it's cold because he's
Wow.
going to be in the Gene timeline. It's going to be fucking Omaha.
That's exactly
Where
what I
it's
was thinking before you made me laugh.
snowing. Or
Or
remember Jimmy's big bag of diamonds? Diamonds are also called ice. Ice is cold. Nippy.
Okay, I've got it. Much like every 80s horror movie I've ever watched, there are dogs in the mall that they release at night to stop burglars. So that's what will happen. Someone will get nipped.
Well, there was no carnival in this episode, so maybe this one. Maybe you'll get your
Yeah.
prediction right.
Yeah, sure.
Oh man.
I really liked the song that they played at the beginning, which I don't remember it right off, but I remember thinking while I was watching, I was like, this song is perfect for this.
Perfect
Oh
day.
yeah.
I'm going to have to perfect day.
Yeah, we should, by the way, give everybody a disclaimer. This is our kind of like just post-watch reaction. We don't take notes. We don't do any research. So whatever we're thinking of right now is just coming off the dome. I think that's a good thing to tell people, by the way.
Yeah.
Choose ignorance, everyone. I'm dumb. I'm dumb,
like-
but it's okay. I'll live.
Like we said in the last episode, yeah, ignorance is bliss. You get to live. So,
No, it's like the. That's what I get.
And I didn't have to
end.
pay for that.
Yeah, that was
You know what I mean?
free.
You can get the full clip at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead.
And he's gonna charge for it.
Jeez, I'm laughing so hard I can't even get this overlay right. Oh, so good.
50 cents, folks, and that can
Okay.
be yours.
We
My new
will
ringtone.
pay you to download it if you're a member.
It's gonna be my new ringtone.
Same here.
That
Every time I get a text message,
it won't be the I'm a baby.
oh no, we'll combine the two to make a
Oh.
super text tone.
Super clip. I
Yeah.
like it.
So like the Super Mario ending a la Bridget. Like when Mario clears a
It was
level.
so bad. I was missing notes. It's not even right. But that way, no
So
copyright
bad. It's
strike.
so
Right.
bad. It's
Right.
we need to get you to do the theme for every intro that we do from here on in. Copyright free, folks. Download now. Anyway, sorry. This has gone off the rails. Sorry. You're just thinking about it now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's too late.
else?
I need to go to bed.
Yeah,
It's like
same here.
I'm dumb already, but I get dumber after dark. It's like a bad mogwai, I guess. I don't
Dumb
know.
after dark.
Dumber After Dark. I would watch that
Don't
movie.
live stream after 10. Things will get really nutty. Yeah, honestly, I had so much in the chamber while we were watching, but then when you guys popped in and you're like, hey, Dave, the episode's over. I'm like, no, it's not. And you're like, no, Dave, it wrapped up like 20 minutes ago. I'm like, I stopped paying attention. I panicked. Things started flying out of my head. All I held on to was the blood for blood thing. And the actor who's in that scene too, whom I recognized on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and he was in another show that I can't remember. But anyway, yeah, the actor who's flirting with Gus, essentially.
Oh, I was
he's
like,
been in
who
a
are
lot
you
of
talking
things.
about?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
I've seen him
sorry.
in a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I've definitely seen
The
him in a bunch of
judge
stuff.
has also been in other stuff. He looked familiar to me as
I wish they paid more attention.
His
to him.
name is Aryeh Gross. He's been in a ton of movies. especially
Aryeh
in the-
Gross?
Oh yeah, especially in the late '80s and early '90s.
That's my
Yeah, I
wheelhouse.
definitely recognized him, but I did not know
That's
his
the
name.
sweet
but-
spot.
Wait, what is exactly? Sorry.
Late 80s, early 90s. That's the sweet
Oh,
spot.
gotcha. Bang, ba-bang. Okay. Hey, if anybody has any questions, comments that we can read out loud, let us know now or forever hold your peace.
I used to have an English teacher that would say, questions, comments, wonderments. So now
Touch my,
Like
touch our
like
bells
ingrained.
and buttons.
like mints that are wonderful or something.
yes, wonderments.
Wonderments powers
Wondermint?
activate.
Anthony
Form
says,
of peppermint.
winter fresh.
Form of Andes.
Oh, those are the best.
Oh, yes. And then you get the chocolate in there, too.
Sorry,
Michelle-
all you
Michelle-
you younger generation babies. You're not going to know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Ba, 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 ba. Michelle Jaron says, what happened in the episode? Well, lots of things that we kind of forgot about.
Wait,
Because
what?
we're... Exactly.
Wait, what are we doing?
Right. This is the reaction to... Wait, what was the episode
What
called? again?
happened in the episode? My world came crashing down.
Yeah.
Is what happened in this episode.
I'm
Yeah.
so surprised at how much they gave us this episode too. Like I've never seen an episode feel kind of slow, which is not always a bad thing, but in this case, it was a pretty good thing. But then also give us so much movement, like in terms of plot. So I was really, really surprised, like considering the last episode, and so much action happens and tension, and then they just keep going. And I had a feeling that they would do this when they came back. They're like, hey, listen, we're going to go off with a bang. So every episode from here on in is going to be like, we're going to give you more and more and more. And they literally gave us 20 extra minutes on this episode. So I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, and Anthony says the judge was also on Ellen. The actor, Aria Gross, was on Ellen. Yeah. So just wanted to read that out loud. And if you've missed this reaction live stream, go back and watch it. And hey, give us a like, subscribe or follow or like us wherever we're streaming right now. And make sure to enable all notifications. If you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/SQUAWKingDead. Leave us 5 stars and an eggplant, and we'll know what you mean. But if you like what you heard, if you didn't like what you heard, or you have a bone to pick with us, or if you want to communicate with us, rate us after every episode. Let us know your feelings. Let us know what you want us to cover next in terms of series. Or if you have any thoughts about how we can grow this podcast. Or if you want to tell us to fuck off. But let us know after every episode. And if you like what we're doing as a podcast, you want to follow us on our journey, head over to ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. It's on the bottom left of the screen. And just create an account on ko-fi.com. It's free. And just follow us. You don't have to buy us a coffee for 30 days of supported back content. You don't have to join a membership tier. All we want you guys to do is follow us so you can be in the know when we set up another recording session, when we drop our unedited episode recordings, or we do something really, really cool. And if you join a membership tier, by the way, for only $1 a month, you can join our Discord, which means we do so much more there than we do on our Ko-fi page. So give it a thought. But again, just follow us. Without further ado, Sharon, do you take us out?
Take us out.
To dinner, Gus.
Where are you taking us?
You want me to take us out?
Oh boy.
Yikes.
Well, for me, Sharon D, Blazy Gardner, and Bridget, and Rachel, and Dave. Good night, everybody.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon. Hey, and stay tuned for our full-throated breakdown. Later on tomorrow night, actually, is when we're going to start recording. Yeah,
everything you've been saying is escalating so quickly.
Ew, David.
We're coming at you live, no editing. Yeah, so we're going to be recording this on. So we're going to be recording our full breakdown tomorrow night, which is why you should be following us. At ko-fi.com/squawkingdead, so you know when we schedule that recording, and you can get the link, and you can join us in the real-time chat. So you can tell us what's what and shape the course of that episode with us. So take care, everybody. Yeah, if you're there, you can. Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you soon, and take care. Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed that reaction that was recorded live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, right after the episode aired live on Monday night, the 18th of July. And without further ado, here is the full episode breakdown of our coverage of the 9th episode of Better Call Saul's 6th and final season, titled Fun and Games.
Hi, I'm Bridget. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do, and so do I. I believe, until proven otherwise, every man, woman, and child should hear this podcast. And that's why we talk to you, Internet. Better squawk Saul. Stop laughing while I'm doing the intro.
Hey guys, we are here today to cover the 9th episode of the 6th season of Better Call Saul. I am here with Rachel Burt at CosmoBomb09 on all the socials. Bridget, Punky Brewster, she's at Ain't My First Radio on Instagram, and Ex-Prophecy Girl on Twitter. And as always, lurking in the shadows is Dave Cameo.
Sorry.
It's been a whole 24 hours since we talked about this episode. Since then, I've watched it like 3 times. So, and I listened to part of the Insider podcast. I didn't get all the way through it. it was mostly just about camera angles and stuff like that, how they set up cameras and how they did shots, which, you know, is interesting.
I finally noticed that this episode too, especially with Miguel Ignacio Varga. Miguel Varga. Like the opening shot of him shows it's so cool. It shows the front of a car windshield. And so you'd think he'd be upside down, but he's actually both upside down and right side up, which is kind of cool in the reflection, like in that opening. So it kind of shows how balanced he is. The swatches on the wall are like shades of a dark color. You know, they're different colors, but it's little shades. It's like shades of gray. He's living in a gray area as opposed to everybody else. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, color palettes are very important in this show. Like, there is a lot of meaning and a lot of thought goes into the color choices. So, I mean, that is very valid. So the opener, it reminded me a lot of the Something Stupid opener, where they had the split screen and it showed Jimmy and Kim gradually growing apart as they did the year time jump. That was in season 4. It was season 4, episode 7. And then they did it again in Bad Choice Road in 509. They did the same, it's a split screen with the same song, and it was Jimmy in the desert and Kim at the apartment waiting for him. And this felt very similar to that. They didn't use a split screen, but I've kind of read that as they're now completely apart. They were each going about their own day. They weren't together in any way. And the criminal element was in there as well, with Mike and everybody cleaning up. The song is called Perfect Day. It's a song by Harry Neeson, but this was a cover by a couple called Dressage and Slow Shiver. They actually went to these musicians and asked them to do this cover because they needed a much longer version. So again, that's another similarity to Something Stupid. For the song Something Stupid that opened, it was originally a Frank Sinatra and Nancy Sinatra song, but they had Lola Marsh do their version of it because they needed a much longer version to cover the opener. What did you guys think about the opener?
I liked it much better the second time I watched it, to be honest. So that song, I don't know what it was about the song, but it was very drawn out. I enjoyed it more the second time, but the first time I felt like I wanted to fall asleep. I don't know, like it was comforting almost. Like, I don't mean like in a boring way, but like it was just kind of like, oh. But I especially loved the transitions that they put in there too. You know what I mean? From going from this scene to that scene and like just beautiful. I mean, the coffee pouring into the cup, which transitions into the blood, into the bucket, and then, you know, mopping up the blood, which turns into Jimmy's lunch, and it just beautiful transitions. It was really nice to watch.
My favorite was Kim going out the door at the courthouse and coming in the door at the apartment.
Yeah, the foyer.
The shot of her going out was almost an exact same shot of her in 304. She and Jimmy are going out of the courthouse together, and it's the same shot with them framed in that kind of blue light with them. Yeah, that was my favorite, going from the courthouse into the apartment.
She's alone.
But yeah, that was fantastic. They talked about that a little bit in the Insider podcast about how the choices they made doing that, and how they had storyboarded every single bit of that out, even the transitions and everything. It was pretty interesting.
The pastels from the dresses matched the pastel colors and the sticky notes. That I thought was the cutest one.
Yeah. See, and there's even some that I missed, obviously. I'm kind of focused on blood, so.
There's blood?
Since you mentioned the sticky notes and the painting, that painting is still in Saul Goodman's house. Why do you think he kept that particular painting?
Have you seen any of Kim's smaller paintings anywhere in Saul's house or office or anything like that? Because I know the you know what I'm talking about, the little ones that were like above the bed, I think, that Ray Seahorn did herself.
The little bird ones?
Yeah. Have you seen those anywhere in Saul Goodman's life? Okay.
I wasn't looking for it.
So besides those paintings, I feel like this painting really represents Kim still being in his life. It's a way to remember Kim.
Or that perfect day, like in the song. Yeah?
Not perfect day.
I think it's a good way for them to remember not to be like too cheesy, but the fun and games that they had. Because she said that was the best time of her life, was that portion. So I think, you know, if you're trying to take away only that they had, before it went
Tits up.
so bad.
It would be a reminder of what they did to Howard, because that, they had the sticky notes on the back of it. So maybe it's also a reminder of, I don't want to say restraint because he doesn't have any restraint.
Right, that's what I was thinking was you're saying that.
Maybe it's a reminder that don't go too far.
I could see that.
I'm so glad you said that, because now when I'm thinking about it, what makes more sense to me, or, no, it's kind of like what you're saying. It kind of lines up with Gus in this episode, because Gus has this moment, as we said in the reaction episode, of like, he's opening the indoor shutters, which I've never seen before in my life, to finally open the windows. And he's going to the bar. He's talking to Brett, and his sommelier comes up to him, and he's like, "Oh, tell me more," right? And he's thinking, "I can have a life." And then, just like he suddenly wisens up and says, "That's not in my cards." Maybe that painting is also a reminder that, like, you can't do this again. There's no room for this in your life. And I thought maybe that it could be a reminder of that.
Kim and Gus are actually almost parallel in this episode. They both face an inquisitor about something that they've done. Gus, of course, is before Eladio. Lalo did too good of a job faking his death because now nobody believes Hector, but Gus is brought before Eladio and Hector, and he's basically
answering charges.
interrogated, questioned, brought before, and having to prove his innocence. And when Kim and Jimmy go to Howard's wake, she is basically interrogated by Cheryl. They also both decide that they can't have the life that they want by the end of it. Kim decides that she can't live the life that she wants with Jimmy because it's too dangerous. And going on what you said last night, Bridget, Gus decides that he can't have the life he wants because it would be too dangerous for whoever is with him. There were definitely parallels between Kim and Gus in this episode.
So to dovetail on that, kind of bringing up the themes that I brought up last night, where there's a lot of blood for blood going on. There's a lot of erasing things from existence. And then, of course, the love is not enough overall theme. I do compare Kim to Fring in a sense where when Kim finally, in the aftermath, instead of going for all the things she thought was important, all of her ambitions, she not only quits Jimmy, she just quits everything. Whereas Fring actually says, no, I need to keep going. It just, in order to keep going, I need to kind of not do this. So I see them going in opposite directions, but I to your point, both involve not involving love in their lives, which is kind of interesting.
Bridget, I liked what you had said last night, I think, about the conversation between Gus and Agent Flynn. I don't remember his name.
Dave, I think it was.
How did I forget David?
Oh,
okay.
Agent Flynn, who's Reed Diamond, by the way, is the actor's name. I finally looked it up.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah. David the sommelier.
Yeah. But I really liked what Bridget had said last night about, Gus was kind of dipping his toe back into having a social life, having a love life, having a life at all. And as he's sitting there, comes to this realization that it's not going to happen. Like, he chooses drugs over potential love, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on between them, but you can almost see it in his face as he's sitting there. Like, the decision comes to him and you see his face just kind of like
slack.
And then that's when he gets up and leaves. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like all the happy just drains out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just.
David refers to the wine or the vineyard, Empuy. Yeah, that's the region. Yeah. He refers to it as paradise. So in a sense, because I've said this before on the show, it's like Paradise Lost. Fring gives up paradise for his ambition, in a sense.
Dave, and he got lost there. That's the story he was telling.
David was lost.
That's awesome.
David was lost in paradise, and Fring.
That's great.
Lost paradise. Or loses paradise, in a sense.
That moment was the best insight I've ever had about this show, and I wasted it on the initial reaction.
He chose a life of crime.
Well, we just brought it back again.
I'll never forget those words. McGruff.
Yeah. I could just see him picturing, this guy getting the same ending as his boyfriend did if he continues his lifestyle.
There was an illusion of that at the pool at the end of the Inquisition that Eladio orchestrated. He looks down at the pool at the end, the seat of Fring's anger.
Gus looking at the pool where Max died, and then we have Kim looking at the spot in the apartment where Howard died. And then we have Mike looking down into the fire where he's destroying all the evidence.
So do you think, before we skip too far ahead, because in the opener, we saw Mike shine in the UV light looking for bloodstains and everything, and we see that little, just that little thing. Do you think that's going to come back to anything? Like, I feel like there was a reason we saw that little bit of spot. It's not enough to say someone died there.
I imagine he probably had one of his guys scrub it up a little.
Yeah.
Go scrub that part up a little bit better.
That was one of two. Yeah. That was one of 2 points in the episode where the camera hung for a second, and I was like, what does that mean? Because they did it there, and then they also do it when Kim and Jimmy put their glasses on the end of that at the like banister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered what the significance of that was, of them putting their glasses down right there.
I saw that it was clear, so I assumed they were drinking water, and then I was like, is that telling of the mental place that they're at? Like, I have to drink water because I cannot slip up during this at all.
I think everybody was drinking water because they had like a water tank that everybody was, that Jimmy got their water out of, and I think that's what Rich was drinking, and
I saw most people
Cheryl.
drinking coffee or drinks or something like that. I noticed a lot of coffee at the wake too, and there was coffee in the beginning as well, and it felt like they were the only ones drinking water, essentially.
They should have been drinking chamomile tea.
When they were cleaning up in the apartment, they also showed them cleaning blood spatter off of the fish tank. Throughout the series, the fish has represented Jimmy's connection to the criminal world. So I thought it was interesting that they made sure they showed a shot of them cleaning the blood off of the goldfish tank. Wonder what's going to happen to the goldfish. Everybody's worried about Kim. What's going to happen to the goldfish?
Do they appear in maybe a bigger tank in Better Call Saul? In Breaking Bad? Because I'm just thinking.
A big USA fish tank over in the side.
Our pirates are American.
After they had the guy peeing in the water feature, I'm not sure they would put another fish tank in there. I was thinking about Mike going to see Papa Varga, the way Mike has acted in the past couple of episodes. I think he's tired of the waste. Like, he sees Howard's death as a waste, and Nacho's death was a waste. And he wanted to go to Manuel to let him know that Nacho's life wasn't wasted. He wasn't a bad person. He wasn't a waste. The way he focused on Howard and the way he focused on burning all the stuff. Also, Rachel, you and I talked about it, we talked about it on the show last night. He's very sensitive about people disappearing without any closure. So he goes to Manuel to at least give him the closure that his son is dead. Because if you remember, the whole reason he kind of got entangled with the Salamancas and with Gus was when he hit the Salamanca ice cream truck and he left the driver alive. And a good Samaritan stopped to help the truck driver. And then when the Salamancas arrived, they murdered him and buried him out in the desert. And Mike felt very responsible for that because he was the one that left the driver alive and hit the truck and everything. He made a deal with Nacho to get the location of the body so that he could give closure to the family of whoever that was. So it's just, when you think about the future, that Mike is the one who disappears and his family never knows what happens to him. He leaves Kaylee alone. He leaves Kaylee at the playground and goes with Walter, and Walter kills him, and then they dissolve him in acid. So his body's never found either, and his family never gets closure. And I just think that's probably maybe one of the saddest aspects of the entire series, of both series, is Mike being the one who always wanted to give closure to the families, and he's the one that never gets any.
Just sad.
Yeah.
That's so extra sad.
I kept thinking of that when he went to Manuel also. How, like, it seems like Mike always wanted to do right, in a sense, by people. The people that weren't the Salamancas or Gus Fring, even Gus Fring. Innocents.
He says it all people. They're not in the game.
Especially a dad who lost his son. I mean, that's Mike.
That's
all
Mike.
I could think of. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So of course that's gonna hit him extra hard to know that Manuel would never know what happened to his son, because he went on for so long not knowing why his son was killed. So, and that killed him. That ate away at him. It wrecked his whole life. So it makes sense that he would be so vigilant about finding that for other people.
Mm-hmm. And I find what's strange about Manuel also is that more than anybody else, he knows that love is not enough. We talk about it with Jimmy and Kim, but I wrote this down as like he knows already that him loving Ignacio wasn't enough to save him. And he knew that from the outset. It's like, I can't help you. You either have to help yourself or whatever, but he knows, that he loves him, but he couldn't do anything about it. Nacho had to do it.
I got the impression that he was not surprised in any way that Nacho was dead. Yeah, I'm sure he was sad and upset, but I feel like he considered Nacho dead for a long time. He just hadn't actually died yet.
Just waiting for it. I was freaking out the whole time, both times. Not so much the second time, but the first time, I was freaking out watching him take his slow-ass time to walk up to that phone and answer the phone. And I'm like, it has been ringing like 700 times. Go answer the damn phone already. I could not. I'm like, hurry up. Hurry up.
It was meant to mirror Don Hector's bell. I'm just kidding.
Hey, good call, though.
The impatience of Hector and then the patience of Manuel Varga.
Because it killed me. I was like, please answer the freaking phone. Right? This is the most annoying ring I've ever heard in my entire life. Because it was the 2 ring. It was the ring for the 1, and then it was like, oh, God, it drove me crazy.
Ring.
Oh, it drove me insane.
Ring.
And he's just like, do.
But he didn't seem annoyed, which is like, it's a reflection of the scene, too. It's like, I know. You talk of justice, but I know.
At the end, they have the discussion about justice and vengeance. What do you think the difference is? Why would Mike see it as justice and Manuel see it as revenge?
This is where Rachel and I fight, usually.
Well.
Just kidding.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think Manuel would like to see these people arrested, right? And held accountable for their crimes and everything they've done. I think in Manuel's mind, justice means being arrested, being caught, and not able to do it anymore. And I think Mike knows better. He knows that even if they were to get arrested, somebody, whoever it is going to take the fault. Don Eladio, he's the top of the tower here or whatever. No one's going to get to him. Anybody who gets arrested down below, they're just going to eat it and go serve their time. So, no. I mean, in this situation, the justices, they need to all be killed.
Well, so this is probably even a bigger conversation, because from what we know from Breaking Bad, I mean, at the end of the day, kind of like what you're saying, Rachel, is that it doesn't matter who, let's say all of them die. There'll be a vacuum.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Somebody else, there's always going to be somebody else to fill in that gap. Mm-hmm. And so I think Manuel is just like the Swatches, just like everything else. He knows that there'll never be justice. All it amounts to is, if I stop right here, it'll stop with me. At least this part of all that cycle ends with me. This is where he walks away. He's like, there's no such, in this world, maybe even to go as far as to say that in this world, is there justice though, really? All we can do is try to live as good as a life as we can. We say this a lot in the context of the Walking Dead universe too. Usually around All Out War and the end of All Out War, at some point somebody has to stop the killing. This is where I said Rachel and I fight sometimes.
No, kill them all.
No, kill them all. Before they kill you. Anyway.
Kill them all. Attack first.
Don Burt. Or is it Don not Burt? I think. I don't know. Whatever.
Don Rachel.
Yeah, Don Ray Ray.
Yeah, it would be Don Rachel.
It'd be Don Rachel.
Don Cosmo Mom 09.
That's too much. That's a mouthful.
It's too much. Yeah.
Nobody has time for that.
Don Cosmo. Anyway.
Oh, okay. I like that.
Actually, she's Lady Sylvie, Doña.
Doña Ray Ray.
Doña Rachel. Doña Ray Ray.
Hey, yo, Ray Ray. I mean, Don Ray Ray, whatever. Bam, bam, you die, Dave.
When they go to HHM, Robbie Schweikert was saying that, they were downsizing. And it just made me realize that HHM is where Jimmy and Kim got their start. That's where they met. That's where they both studied to be lawyers. Yeah. Where they had their first kiss. By taking Howard down in the manner that they did, they also destroyed HHM. They basically destroyed
the legacy.
Destroyed
their foundation.
Yeah.
Ah,
yeah.
Interesting. I compared that in my notes to Fring trying to build this, I want to say legacy also, for himself. Slowly but surely, brick by brick. And then you see Kim and Jimmy literally ruin the McGill and Hamlin legacy, essentially. It's just like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, when Kim says that everybody around them suffers, they make everybody around them suffer. I mean, they just destroyed an entire law firm. So all those people that worked for HHM,
right?
Everybody that put their heart and soul into HHM, yeah, they did. They made all those people suffer. They never took the time to think about the ripple effect of what they were doing. Even say if Howard hadn't been killed, HHM still maybe would have gone down if it got around that he was the, I guess, owner of HHM, was a cokehead, druggie. You know, that still could have brought HHM down. But Kim, they didn't think about the ripple effect.
Or like the magnitude, right? I mean, and would you even though? Yeah. But still, like maybe that's what why Kim decides to make the choice that she makes. Hearing all of that compounds their collective damage when they have fun together.
Ray Seahorn said that when Kim told the lie about Howard to Cheryl, that was kind of where she made the decision that she was done. She was pushed to the point where she had to make up this lie, and it was so easy that it scared her that she could just cover that easily and come out and just pile on to someone who was already down. Howard was already dead, and his reputation besmirched, and she was just going to pile onto it, and it was so easy for her to do it. That was when she decided that she was done. So the kiss in the parking garage, she knew then that was going to be the end. That was my. I love the shot. I love the shot of them in the parking garage
where it all started.
But it was so sad. It was so sad. Like literally, this episode just broke my heart. Jimmy and Kim are why I love the show. They're the reason I got into it so much. Kind of like John and June. Then now they just fucking destroyed it.
Everything you love has been destroyed.
But they're both still alive.
So like they're back
Twice
where they
over.
started kissing. And it kind of goes also to the garbage can as well. Like it's almost as if like you can't have this forever. And isn't the prior garbage can the one that Jimmy kind of fucked up that one time?
Like destroyed, yeah.
Yeah. In the very first episode when he was going to see Howard, he kicked the shit out of it. And then when he and Kim came downstairs, she went and picked it up. Like she was cleaning up his messes from the very beginning. She was always there cleaning up his messes. And now they've replaced his mess with a brand new garbage can.
Yeah. You know, things move on, I guess, in a sense. Ugh, I hate it. If that's the loss I was describing in the reaction episode, is like, I almost hate where we leave off, but also I still think it's like fucking brilliant. Maybe to Kim's point, it's fucking brilliant, but it's gotta stop. You know what I mean? Like, all this shit that we're pulling off is pleasurable and awesome, and I'm having fun, but it's got to stop. So I guess that's fair.
It's all fun and games until someone gets murdered in your apartment.
Exactly.
There were just so many parallels and callbacks in this episode. I'm not even going to go through all of them. But one is Kim smoking on the
balcony,
because that's where they always hang out on the balcony, drinking their beers and smoking and waiting for each other to come home. And this time she's up there alone.
Right, because she never smokes without Jimmy, if I'm not mistaken. That was the thing. They used to share the cigarettes even.
Yeah.
Well,
sometimes.
Yeah, for the most part. And she never smoked inside until they started their super scam, and now she's back to smoking outside again. Ooh. So is that an indication that she's back on the straight and narrow?
Or gonna try to be? I
think she's going back to Nebraska, and I think Carol Burnett's going to be playing her mom. She's going to be very close to Jean. To Jean. When Kim is trying to get the case shifted to somebody else, the attorney that she mentions is Paige Novick. That is Paige from Mesa Verde.
Yeah.
Yep. Which makes me wonder, so has Paige started taking on pro bono cases now? Did she take a page from Kim and start her doing pro bono cases too? Because she was strictly a Mesa Verde lawyer, you know, when we saw her in the previous season. So I'm just wondering, where did Kim inspire her to go out there and take pro bono cases?
Well, Cliff Main was the one who was going to fund essentially Kim doing pro bono cases. That was what he wanted. And Paige is connected to him in that way. Like, maybe he was like, well, Kim's not going to do it. maybe he pushed her to try, or maybe she was interested in it after she found out about the project.
Paige was inside counsel for Mesa Verde. She wasn't connected to Cliff.
Or Sandpiper or any of that.
Yeah. She wasn't involved in any of that. She was the one who got Kim the job with Mesa Verde.
Oh, that's Paige.
By the way, I read the factoid that they both went to law school together, too. You're thinking of Violet.
No.
No?
Hey.
Oh.
No, I.
Because I was thinking of Violet.
Oh my gosh, no,
That's Viola.
Viola. Thank you.
Blank on her name. The younger girl.
Aaron. It's Aaron. That's what I was
Aaron
thinking.
Brill.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron.
Brill.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all like one person to us, aren't they?
All the
They
other
were literally
lawyers.
not. They couldn't be more different.
They're so
They're
different.
so different.
And yet.
I would see, but so okay,
Whoops.
so it's very interesting to see that she chose the lawyer whom she went to law school with, and the inside counsel for Mesa Verde. I would have thought that she would have picked Viola though for some reason, but I don't know. It started bothering me the more we started recording.
Viola is just her paralegal.
Right.
And
I guess.
I don't think
She's not
Kim
a
thinks
litigator.
very highly of her. I think she thinks she's kind of naive, would be the nicest way to say it.
Okay, so she wouldn't be shark enough to defend these people, I guess. Okay, that's a great response.
She's too nice.
Just makes me wonder about Paige, but anyway, I thought that was an interesting little throw out there.
Actually, so you said something about Cliff Main, and I know we're going to get off the topic of the wake, but when Jimmy and Kim were like answering Cheryl, I see Cliff staring at mostly Kim, but like the both of them. And here I am. I know exactly what he's thinking because he says it at the end. He says, "I don't think this is the time or place," and he's right. He's looking at these two people, knowing, are these people sociopaths? She's not a cop. You're not defending yourself in front of, trying to not incriminate yourself in front of a cop. This is a grieving wife. And so like, I thought exactly how he was thinking. And he says the thing that they should have said. It's like, I don't think this is the time or place. They should have said that. And yet they went into this spiel, this kind of yarn even. And you could see him staring at him in horror and almost and as much horror as Cliff Main can muster.
To be fair, though, on top of that, he's also, I think, recollecting the events that occurred and
Right.
he thinks that he witnessed of Howard when he was with Kim.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that isn't even the part that she shares. So he's probably like,
Out of all these things, right?
like she's trying to spare Cheryl's feelings, I guess, about the hooker. And so like when Cheryl's like, have you ever seen anything like this? It's almost like he's like, I'm not going to tell you this right now. We are not going to do this right now. I'm not going to tell you that I saw him kick a stripper out of his car or a hooker out of his car
Oh,
on the street. Like, I'm not going to tell you this right now. So
Right.
I felt like that was part of it too.
well, Kim didn't see any of that too. According to when they talked about it, Cliff was like, "Did you just see that?" And she goes, "No, my back was turned." And she positioned her chair specifically so she wouldn't see.
She's like, it happened so fast.
So he does have that third piece, and yet, but yeah, that's the thing. And yet, maybe either he's taking a cue from Kim, and maybe even Kim sees this and she feels bad that she puts him into this position where he becomes this like third bit of evidence, and but seeing in that he absconds, he doesn't do it. Maybe
Right.
that's also like that one little straw piece on top that breaks the camel's back for Kim to leave Jimmy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that
what
little bag of
sociopaths
cocaine
do.
fell out of his locker at the country club too. So Cliff's got a couple of examples.
Yeah,
of,
quite a
of
few.
this.
Right. Do you guys think for a hot sec that maybe Cliff is trying to crunch the numbers here and thinking like these two folks are too odd, that maybe he figured something out? Or maybe he's like trying to figure something out or is putting something together? For a hot sec, I was just like, because he's looking at Kim quizzically when she finally chimes in. What is
I
the
think
move?
I honestly think Cliff's pretty convinced.
No, I mean, honestly, I'm going to say this honestly. I really believe that we are done with this time period. We are jumped up to Breaking Bad time, and that is where it's going to be Breaking Bad and Gene Takovic from here on out. I believe this episode pretty much wrapped up the Jimmy McGill
Yeah.
timeline. Because what else is there really to wrap up? Nothing. Lalo's dead. Howard's dead. Nacho's dead. and Kim is gone, so there's not really anything left for them to go into.
There's no point in dredging the lake, essentially.
Right. So I mean, even if Howard does have suspicions or whatever, I don't think it's ever really going to become anything at all. I think we're wrapped up there. Because I feel like the scene with Eladio, basically they set up where they're at in Breaking Bad, with Gus running the north and the Salamancas running the south, and all of them operating under Juan Bolsa. And then, of course, Gus tells Mike to start working on the lab again. And I don't think they're going to go into showing all that. They showed us enough of them building the lab. Right. We know what happens to we know where the lab ends up. So I really think we're done with this timeline.
And hopefully more Gene.
I'm actually okay with that, too.
Bye-bye, Jimmy McGill.
I did mention that I was sad, but, like, are you okay with the way things are in this timeline? Satisfied with this?
Yeah. I mean,
other than
heartbroken.
Other than all the horrible shit that's happened. Yeah.
Other than Nacho.
Yeah.
Well, I like the horrible shit that's happened.
Howard. Poor Howard.
Poor Howard.
But I mean, yes, I'm satisfied with the wrap up they gave this timeline. I don't think we need anything else. My biggest fear now is that they're going to pull the biggest twist of all time, and they're not ever going to tell us what happened to Kim. She just went somewhere, and that's it. She's alive. She's not in jail. Stuck on that.
Stuck on that.
I know. I'm sorry I put that in your head, by the way, last night. But I kind of, as we were talking, I was sort of thinking to myself of El Camino and even this whole timeline. And if you're right about Carol Burnett playing Kim's mother, I was thinking, wouldn't it be kind of cool if Gene Takovic is in town and he's getting murmurs or he's getting paranoid that people are starting to recognize him? And wouldn't it be kind of cool if he saves Kim from wherever she is with her mother? She does the right thing for her at the time, but like life kind of turns out pretty shitty for her, and she's living with her mom, who is the same thing as Jimmy, essentially, like rewarding her doing dirty deeds sort of situation, right? And so maybe as Gene Takovic, he can finally lift her out of that. You know, she went from one hell to another. You know,
that would be great.
Chain smoking hell. A life of mediocrity.
Just gonna go back to the
Just be dumb and you'll always survive.
Yep. Ignorance is bliss. But that does bring about something that you said that I finally watched, was the teaser, black and white teaser in the right before the credits. So you had something to say about that, I think, Sharon D, right? You had theorized that Gene might put on Saul again? Something like that, to that effect?
I don't remember that, but it was really late.
It was wild what you'd said. I was like, you think? Because the Armani and he's talking about all these things that must go.
I was just excited that it was Gene, and that clearly that was in the Gene timeline, and that it was unusual. But the department store looked closed,
right,
to me. And so I was wondering if it was just like he was just in the mall. But yeah, why are you in the department store after hours after it's closed? So what's going on there?
So there is a theory that Kim hired Jeff, the taxi driver, to find Saul. I think that would be really, really fun. Because, well, I mean, maybe she is. Maybe she went to Omaha and passed the bar. Just because she resigned in New Mexico doesn't mean she can't go past the bar in another state and
or maybe
and practice there.
Oh man, or maybe she could have passed state's evidence too, or something like that. Like, you know, we'll get you Saul, the illustrious Saul Goodman, for the death of Howard Hamlin in exchange for my immunity, or something like that too. Oh, sorry, you just made me think of so many damn fucking things.
Don't theorize
only
too much, because we're always all wrong, except for Sharon D.
That's fun, but
Sharon D got one
panic.
right.
No, I got one right.
So. Take the win.
And this better not be the last time we see Kim Wexler. This better not be her last episode. There had better be some kind of closure there, is all I'm saying. My hope is that Kim is going to swoop in and they're going to be reunited. And
well, I want them to have a happily ever after.
Right? We deserve that, showrunners. Please.
I don't know. Lightning can't strike twice. You can't get like an El Camino situation again. Maybe, but I don't have high hopes in this universe, you know?
Well, like Breaking Bad was so sad, and all we've had is death so far this season. Like, just lift us back up.
One thing they've made clear is that, like, you're not going to see the end coming. So I kind of have hope for that.
Yeah.
Not that everything is going to be, everybody's going to get what they deserve.
Though.
What if Kim was on the plane that crashed in the sky in Breaking Bad.
What if you find out that Kim is with Jesse now?
You know what? I would die so into that.
They're both together in Alaska.
I'm sorry.
I would die.
I think I'm into it.
No, it's gonna be revealed. It's gonna be revealed that Nacho's really alive and they escaped to Manitoba together.
That's no.
Kim and Nacho hanging out in Manitoba.
I'm too stuck on Jesse Pinkman and Kim Wexler right now. I'm sorry. Nacho, he did.
No, you just put a Band-Aid.
He could be on. He could still be alive.
That shit.
Yeah, in
Like
hell.
a bunch of Band-Aids. A whole bunch of Band-Aids.
Walk it off.
Nacho, Howard, and Lalo are partying right now. It's like, past the past.
They're kicking it in Guatemala.
They were in Belize. They're in fucking
Can I
Belize.
have a crack, please?
Did you see the pictures of them together, of Tony Dalton and Patrick Fabian out hiking and stuff together? They're like together forever.
Oh my gosh.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
That is hilarious.
They got sent to Belize together.
Oh man, I only had one observation that actually carries over from the last episode. In the last episode, Fring, before he goes to the lavanderia, the super lavanderia, the meth lab, he takes off his tie before he comes into the building, and he doesn't wear his tie at all in this episode too. And what I was going to say in the last episode is I think he was doing that to show kind of like his belly. Here I am. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm pathetic Gus Fring. Oh, you've got me right where you want me. I think he does this again with Eladio to make himself not show that he's too high and mighty or anything like that too. But I wanted to know what you guys think, because he did this for 2 episodes in a row, where it's in every episode he's worn, his pressed shirt, his everything, and then his tie. And then for these 2 episodes, he has not worn his tie. Even after the whole thing is all done over and done with. He's at the bar without a tie as well, I think. It's weird for Fring, is what I'm saying.
It is.
It's just an example of how he's trying to loosen up a little bit.
I know what I was thinking.
He wants to be able to go out and live a normal life, and maybe the start of that is loosening up and taking the business tie off. Taking the Gus business tie off and just being Gus.
Or maybe it's like also like, because I was thinking this when I was watching that whole scene with Eladio and Hector. I was thinking how like, Eladio is really like the dog owner, and he has his 2 hounds, and they're and you got to keep the Salamancas on a leash or else they'll run wild. Well, of course, Fring is just another one of those dogs, and it's never more apparent than after that episode. So maybe he sees the tie as like a leash. And so maybe when he's going to Eladio and Salamanca, he's like, I'm on leash now, bitch. But then later on, of course, the leash comes back on.
I'm off.
So that's interesting. I didn't think of that until you just started saying that, Sharon D.
Fring unleashed.
Fring unchained. Oh, I had one more. I'm so sorry. I noticed that.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, when we see Saul Goodman in the flash forward, and he's waking up in this circular motorized bed, the woman that's in his bed with him kinda sorta in the face looks like Kim. I don't know if you guys sorta saw that.
It was only from that above angle.
Or at least Kim's mother.
It was only from... It was when they were shooting, and it was like at the top of her head going down.
So you're saying not at all?
That was the only way. I know what you're saying, because it was like just for a split second, but it was only at that angle.
It's
and
funny
as soon
because...
as they moved, or she moved, it was like, oh no.
Yeah. I thought
look
the
at
tight...
this busted bitch.
I thought from the tight angle as she was waking up and you saw her directly in the face. Because what's funny about what you're saying is, in every other shot that she's in, well, Breakfast Bar is that way, she's at the edge of the wide angle, so she looks all warped. When you take a wide angle shot, she looks kind of like widened up, and you can't quite make her out. And I kind of like that, because if you take the whole thing, like Crazy Me says about like, oh, she did kind of sort of look like him, maybe that's what he's going for, maybe that's what he's into, then like it is this woman is a warped version of Kim in a sense. Like, she'll never replace her.
Well, also, she's
Busted.
nobody to him.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that she's almost faceless in a way. to us, because you can't really get a feel for exactly what she looks like because she's always
She's
so
meant
at
to
such a
be.
distance. But
Yeah.
it's intentional. Did she grab 2 breakfast bars?
What?
Selfish
Okay.
bitch.
So I felt like she took one and put it in her purse, and then she grabbed a second one when she was
That was
walking
money.
out.
She put money in her purse.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought it was 2 breakfast bars. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was money.
Oh, but money, that's fine.
But also,
Well,
that wasn't a
she worked
breakfast bar. That
hard.
was a Nutri-Grain
Yeah.
bar. Like, that
Saul.
is not a substantial enough breakfast.
No.
This makes me think of legacies too, like HHM dying and like Jimmy kind of sort of getting what he wanted, but not. Like nobody around him is there that he wanted to, I don't know, to recognize him or to accept him, right? So this is him accepting himself, which brings the question of something I was thinking of was Kim actually good for Jimmy, or were they good for each other? I had to think about this because Kim was definitely good for Jimmy, because when you see the flash forward,
I think Kim made Jimmy want to be better, but the actual putting it into practice of Jimmy being better didn't work out
but
so
is
well.
this better? Is this Saul Goodman
No.
better?
No, of course not.
So he
No,
so
and if I would even argue that Kim was bad for Jimmy, because he loved her so much that despite the fact that he wanted to drop this whole thing with Howard, she pushed him to continue, and he went with it because he loved her.
But in the episode, she mentions that had she had told him that Lala was still alive, he would have put a stop to it. So it's clear that she was good for him as long as she was being honest.
Well, she said that he would have put a stop to it, and then they would have broken up.
Anyway,
She would have left him because they stopped.
having fun.
Which is just like
scam.
that sentence alone was so bothersome to me.
But that's why I asked the question, because it's clear that, in a sense, Kim is good for Jimmy. And he even says as much. Is like, he says something to the effect of, I need you. And then he corrects himself by saying, we need each other.
So he said, you make me happy, and then he said, we make each other happy.
And then I really thought about this, because then the very next thing we see is Jimmy's life without Kim. And it's arguably way worse in some senses, and better in others, but way worse. And I always thought their relationship was in the show also makes an effort to kind of show that they're not quite good together. Maybe that they weren't meant for each other or something throughout the series until like the final season, let's say.
I've said it all along. They're beautifully toxic. They're beautiful together, but they're terrible together at the same time. In some ways, they're good for each other, and in some ways, they're not. Kim makes Jimmy want to be better. Because of her, he became a lawyer. And because of her, he, pretty much straightened himself out for the most part. Because he wasn't running big scams or anything. He was trying to be a lawyer. He was trying to be the straight and narrow to impress her. I think she was good for him in that way. But she was also bad for him in the sense that she totally encouraged him and pushed him into doing scams. So, and I mean, it could go the other way too. Like, Jimmy was good for her because he encouraged her to loosen up a little bit and live a little. But he also encouraged her to go down this fucking hole, this rabbit hole, this deep dark hole. So it's kind of a give and take. They were good for each other and they were bad for each other.
Yeah.
But in the end, the bad for each other
I would
won
say
out.
they are good for each other unless they go to the extreme, which is what both of them did.
Right.
And so then they're
Yeah.
horrible for each other.
because they encourage each other to go to
Because
the
they're
extreme.
addicts.
I
I mean, or at least Kim seemed more of an addict. I think Jimmy was sort of kind of like relenting at the end of it.
I feel like had Bagman not happened, Jimmy
yeah.
would 150,000% have been on board with fucking with Howard. There would have been no hesitation, no, oh, I don't want to do this kind of shit. He would have been 100,000% behind Kim, and they would have been after Howard. And hell, had Kim given him a couple of months to kind of recuperate after Bagman, But, she was like, let's do it right now. We got to do this right now. And he just wasn't ready.
Yep.
But even Rich said, like you said, they're addicted. And even Rich said addiction is a terrible thing. He was supposed to be talking about Howard.
Yeah. Good observation. I like that. But as opposed to Howard, Jimmy, I don't know. And we see that Jimmy ain't that great. A, on his own, but B, without Kim. as a person. It's very different than Howard.
I really want to know how Kim is without Jimmy.
Me too.
Now, because I feel like had Kim and Jimmy never met and Kim had just gone on being Kim, she would have been fine. But I feel like the introduction of Jimmy into her life has totally skewed everything. So what is she doing now?
Yeah.
What has she become now? Oh, they better give it to us. That's all I'm saying.
That resolution.
It's funny how this feels like an ending. So anything that we get from this point, see, like as opposed to like any other series end, we have 4 whole episodes of like an addendum.
Yeah.
Like we have a whole other series now we're watching now. And I think I'm looking forward to it and I'm not upset about it. Like as opposed to like, okay, The Walking Dead ending. Like, oh, we have only 8 episodes left to tell a whole story. And I'm like, I don't feel that way in Better Call Saul, which I like. The reaction episode, I was upset. I was like, oh, there's a loss. I feel like we lost something. Now I feel like we're getting something in a sense. We get 4 whole episodes to tell that, like post aftermath. And I kind of like it. I'm feeling good about it.
We get to really wrap up Breaking Bad. Totally.
I'm kind of excited.
Wrap up the whole story. I'm excited and sad because, you know, I love it and I don't want it to end, but I'm excited for the ending at the same time.
Maybe more. That's what I'm saying, right? Get excited, people. This is like I feel like we're getting more than we deserve. In a sense, like, but we're getting more than we bargained for in a sense from this series. I like it. We're finally getting back to Gene too. After, I don't know, when was the last time we saw Gene?
At the
Season
beginning
5.
Season
of
6.
Season 5.
Oh, wow.
Yep. When the last thing was he said, I'm going to take care of it myself. And then he hung up on
The vacuum guy.
the vacuum cleaner guy. I mean, everybody was saying Kim was going to get disappeared. So I guess that's not the case with the vacuum
Interesting.
guy.
I guess if that's it. If you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. 5 stars and an eggplant is all we need to know that you love us. But if you want to tell us what you like, tell us what you didn't like, just make sure to tell us after every episode. And if you really like what we're doing and you want to be a part of these episodes with your insights, know when we record, know when we drop our unedited episode recordings, and a whole lot more, all you got to do is create a free account on ko-fi.com and follow us at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. You don't have to buy us a coffee for 30 days of support about content, and you don't have to join a membership tier for as little as $1. All you got to do is follow. You'll know when we do all the things. And when you feel like it, you can always do those last 2 things. Buy us a coffee and join a membership tier. And we'll love you forever and ever, like Jimmy does Kim.
Thank you for joining us. I've been here tonight with CosmoMom09, Rachel Burt, Bridget at Ain't My First Radio on Instagram, and Ex-Prophecy Girl on Twitter. And, of course, Dave, our voice from the void.
Thank you, ladies.
I meant to say this earlier, and I know it's stupid to say it now, but when she said, but so what, that's probably the most heartbreaking line I've ever heard in a show. So thanks a lot.
So, love
Kim.
you guys, but
So what?
So what?
Yeah. So what?
So genius.
But so what?
So genius.
Yeah.
Fucking love that line.
I got the outro music.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Oh my God.
I started to laugh too hard. I started to laugh too hard.
We never really said goodbye. By the way, we just
It's in mono.
Bye. Bye,
It's
guys.
in
It's in
mono.
mono, like the Beatles.
Oh, don't worry.
I sound like I'm talking into a can
This episode
under-
will be in stereo.
under a blanket.
I'm down a well,
Down a
speaking
well.
through a tin can underneath a blanket.
Underneath a blanket.
All right, let's say
Who
goodbye,
wants
everybody.
a lawyer they
Oh,
can't hear? Bye.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.
we love you, but so what?
So,
So
what?
But so what?
Put that in your rating and smoke it. Thank you for making it to the end of another episode of Better Squawk Saul, our coverage of Better Call Saul's 6th and final season. I've been your host, David Cameo, and I was joined by Cosmom09 Rachel Burt, Sharon D, aka Blazy Gardner, and Survivors tier member Bridget. Ko-fi.com/punkybrewster. That's ko-fi.com/punkybrewseter. If you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead. Leave us 5 stars and an eggplant to let us know that you love us, but we're going to need a little bit more than that that from you guys, because Better Call Saul, that's a new thing for us. We want to know what you liked, what you didn't like, whether we should just stick to the Walking Dead universe, or if you want much more of this to come. Use it as a means to communicate your desires after every episode. And if you leave your social media accounts, we will tag you when we post this review on social media. And if you really want to be involved in how these episodes shape out, you want to support the podcast, all you need to do is create a free account on ko-fi.com and follow us at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. You don't have to buy us a coffee for 30 days of supporter-backed content, which includes the ability to download our unedited episode recordings or stream them. You don't have to join a membership tier for as little as $1 a month, which includes Discord access, as well as a whole host of baseline perks. All you gotta do is follow us. It lets you know when we record, when we drop our unedited episode recordings, and when we think of a new idea that we want your feedback on. It's the only place we post these things. We don't post these things on social media. And speaking of membership tiers, we'd like to thank both our Survivors and Whispers tier members in that order. Among them include, of course, Bridget, Ko-fi.com/punkybrewster, that's ko-fi.com/PUNKYBRUISETER, who joined in these episode breakdowns, as well as at ElizaJones71 on Instagram and at JonesAJ6 on Twitter, Jasmine at jasmine.iac on Instagram, and of course, Fanart Lindy, ko-fi.com/fanartlindy. And let's not forget our Whispers tier members, who include, of course, at Aiden_@Kid_ on Instagram, and at Aiden the Raven on Twitter, at RitasFan2 on Instagram and Twitter, at J13Voorhees on Instagram and Twitter, at Sandy.D.Morrison on Facebook, at FrostedAngel67 on Twitter, at Tyler Phillip Cox on Instagram and Twitter, and of course at Judith.Morton on Instagram. I'd like to thank you very much for making it to the very end of this podcast, and for always listening to Squawking Dead. We hope you're enjoying this, and we'll see you in the next one.